This is one hotly watched plane, this Royal Canadian Air Force plane. I think it's an Airbus CC-330. This is one of, several of the planes that the RCAF has. Effectively, that plane flew over to pick up the King and Queen and bring them home, as it were. So you just saw there the Royal Canadian Dragoons heading out to the plane to greet the King. The King is the Colonel-in-Chief for the Dragoons. They are the, effectively, if you think of the Canadian Army, the Royal Canadian Dragoons are the senior armored regiment of the Canadian Army. All right, so everyone is ready. You certainly see the Governor General, the Prime Minister, Cindy Neepanek Woodhouse, Natan Obed, the Royal Canadian Dragoons. This is everyone who needs to be there right now. This is as formal as you can get in Canada for the arrival of the Sovereign. Interesting, Mary Simon, the Governor General, sent out a statement this morning welcoming the King, and the last line of it is, "Welcome home, Your Majesties," for saying this, but there is meaning in this, in what they're wearing.
Yes, there's always interest in the choices of decorations, jewelry, the colors that are being worn, and we're seeing Queen Camilla just out on a lovely spring day in a pale pink, and by wearing a more understated dress, it directs the attention towards her brooch and the jewelry as being the centerpiece of that particular ensemble.
I can't quite see. I presume the King is wearing a red tie. I can't quite make it out, but I'm going to take that leap.
There's the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Edith Dumont.
Just on the right there in blue.
Closest to us. Closest to us,
yes. The King in particular says that his engagement feels real. It feels as if he's done his homework, as if his curiosity is genuine. It feels like something he enjoys doing. We can never know.
As we can see a great deal of warmth in how he's engaging with Canadians. There are many people there who he's met before, who are old friends. There really is a sense of a homecoming, as the Governor General said earlier today.
Catherine, you have a unique perspective there. I'm not sure how much from your view you can actually see with your own eyes or through monitors, but can you give us a sense of the feeling there?
I mean, I think one of the things that's striking, Adrian, is what you can't see on your screen, which is even in a controlled setting like this, the crush of cameras, the number of cameras there, we're getting a bit of a sense of perspective now. Also, another thing that is away from the most direct eyes of the camera is the flag of the Sovereign has now been raised here. And the King is moving over, I believe, accompanied by the Governor General to meet, I believe, with some of these school children. But the flag of the Sovereign has been raised, which is an indication that the King is here. It is not simply that he is in the country, but rather an indication that he is in the particular institution. And now he's not far from us at all. Let's perhaps take a moment to watch as the King watches this drumming performance. And I can tell you, Adrian, it does look like a red tie.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so this is the moment. As he's going to take his time here. We're not expecting him to leave the airport for another half hour-ish or so before he heads to Lansdowne Park.
The next thing on the agenda would be the visit to Lansdowne, where he's expected to go and see a farmer's market. He'll also be taking part seeing a street hockey demonstration. The big burning question, Adrian, and there may be an answer to this, but I don't know yet. Is it a ball drop or a puck drop?
Oh, this is important.
We will have to wait and see, but I believe he may be involved in the ceremonial puck drop there. Again, the idea here, yes, certainly some of this might speak to some of the interests of the king, the local farmers markets. We know he has an interest in local and organic produce. Where we have the ceremonial tree planting, he will also have an audience with the Governor General as well as the Prime Minister, meet with other dignitaries, and Camilla will be sworn in as a member of the King's Privy Council of Canada, which will allow her to officially give him advice in his role as King of Canada.
Sort of along the theme of nothing is accidental, no detail is left to chance. That's an electric vehicle, according to our folks on the ground there who've been chatting with security, and you can see the King's standard while he is in Canada that is flying on the vehicle there. That flag, we see the maple leafs on the bottom. What else is the story of that flag?
Well, that flag is distinctive to King Charles III's role as King of Canada. And over the course of the tour, we're going to be seeing a lot of that kind of symbolism. And it comes out of the time of the Statute of Westminster in 1931, when the distinctive Canadian crown was developed and Canada developed control over its own foreign policy. So we start seeing that those distinctive emblems of the Canadian crown that date from that time and became quite well known at the time of the 1939 Royal Tour.
Yeah, I would just say, Adrian, it has begun, and there will be so much reading of symbols of each of these interactions, of the messages sent.
All right, so the King has now left. That was Governor General Mary Simon, her husband Whit Fraser. And just a reminder, we have said it, but it's worth reminding people, none of this is the King's idea. None of this comes from a suggestion from Buckingham Palace. This sort of visit can only happen at the invitation of the Prime Minister. And the speech that you will hear tomorrow, the throne speech, will not be the words of King Charles. It'll be the words of the government. He really has no say in that speech itself. It's the act of him reading it, the imagery of him being here that is what speaks volumes. That's the loud part of this trip. But in terms of his words, don't expect to hear personal opinions on anything. But if people are expecting a very loud statement from the King, that's not going to come.
Mm-hmm. He's a constitutional monarch, and he acts on the advice of his Prime Minister in Canada. And of course, when he's in the United Kingdom and the other Commonwealth realms, he acts on the advice of the Prime Ministers there. So he is head of state rather than head of government, which is the role of the Prime Minister.
Indeed. Why don't we bring in Nathan Obed now, the president of the ITK, which is an organization that does outreach and advocacy for Inuit. He was right there on the tarmac welcoming the King and Queen. Thank you so much for joining us. We were watching you there, craning to see if we could listen. What was that welcome like for you?
Well, it's really good to see the king. He's had some health issues and since our last visit, so I was able to just convey my well wishes to Canada. I said Tungasugit, so welcome, and also just said great to see him again. He mentioned that it's already been 2 years since our last meeting, so and we talked about looking forward to having a sit down later this afternoon. It was nice to be able to greet him and also to greet Queen Camilla as well.
That's fantastic. Does it sometimes surprise you when he knows details quite that precise?
Well, he's got a great team, and I'm sure that he's been briefed extensively. But I do have a little bit of an inside in that the Governor General, Mary Simon, is somebody that I've known my whole life, and between her and Whit, I'm sure that I've been mentioned a couple of times when perhaps in other cases I wouldn't.
Indeed, job done. Well done, you. Can we talk about your meeting with the king ahead of his coronation? Can you take us to Buckingham Palace and tell us what those interactions were like there?
Well, at the time, it seemed like a really exceptional moment to be able to put reconciliation and Indigenous people's issues at the very front of the King's new agenda. And he's pledged to work on reconciliation. He's somebody that's been an advocate for climate change. And so to be able to be there around coronation and talk about what that might look like and put the positions that Inuit have forward was a remarkable opportunity that we had. We still think of it the same way, in that the relationship with the king and with the crown is not only practical through our treaties and our association with Canada as a nation state, but it also is ambitious in that we can look forward and imagine doing more together.
Well, let's talk about the forward. I mean, he's made a point as Prince visiting the North, visiting with Inuit, First Nations, Métis people. That relationship, what do you see it looking like in the future?
Well, the last time I had an audience with the king, we talked about repatriation, and in museums across the United Kingdom, there still are Inuit human remains and other items that we would like to see repatriated. And we understand that he doesn't have the authority to ensure that these things happen, but he has a convening power. And we were hoping to work with him and with his office to ensure that we can convene those spaces to talk about repatriation. Also, a lot of what the Governor General does here in Canada and what the King does is celebrate excellence, or to introduce important concepts to the world. So we're hoping to work with the King moving forward on the items like climate change and issues like the Arctic, and of course the work that still is to come on reconciliation writ large. It is worthy of noting that there's only the Canadian Arctic as an Arctic region of the Commonwealth. And I'll impress that upon that to him again today to talk about the importance of Canada and Inuit Nunangat, the Inuit homeland, within the Commonwealth itself.
Indeed. Nathan Obed, thank you very much for talking to us at the edge of the tarmac there. Looking forward to seeing you later on today as well. Thank you.